The third idea that we covered here at the Cushman & Wakefield Leadership Conference was the idea of collaborative consumerization. Now, what do I mean when I talk about collaborative consumerization? Organizations around the world have a lot of knowledge. Unfortunately, that knowledge is not always shared. And some of the best inspirational case studies that I can think of when it comes to really good management and sharing and suggestions of solutions using great visualized media come from business to consumer examples. One that I covered here at the conference was Netflix. What does Netflix do? Well, Netflix provide us with great digital media content. But the other thing that they do really well is, just like Amazon, they give us personalized recommendations based on their kind of doppelganger methodology, which says that Anders kind of likes to binge watch certain episodes of Game of Thrones on Saturdays. He then likes to watch sport on Sunday nights. And then on Mondays, he connects with his girlfriend and watches maybe a romantic movie. Well, we've got other people who are just like him, who then also on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday watch these types of shows. Maybe we should alert Anders to some things he hasn't watched yet. Now imagine if the same existed in large organizations, meaning that, for example, a client who's working in India could be alerted to a really successful deal someone has done in Hong Kong, collaboratively consuming that information, maybe a contract, maybe a cross-sell, maybe a project idea that really worked in one part of the organization could be applied somewhere else. The kind of doppelganger approach. Instead, we duplicate efforts because we don't have the same digital platforms to share information in a beautifully visualized fashion. So this is something we kind of explored. Of course, the other thing is that Netflix gathers a lot of intelligence about all of us. They do that by gathering big data, noticing what we like to watch, and then based upon what we like to watch, how quickly we tune in or out of the information, when we stop watching a show or whether we watch it to the end, is indicating our level of engagement. But it also tells them what kind of plot lines that we like or once we might disengage from that information. Based upon that, they can then start drawing parallels, start kind of connecting dots, such as the fact that David Fincher is a really popular director, with the fact that Americans really like Kevin Spacey as an actor, and that, hey, the plot line from a British TV series might become a super hit in House of Cards, as it was then re-edited into in the American version. They knew that hit was going to be a success before it hit the big time box office in Netflix as we speak. They also know which kind of posters might kind of capture our digital minds and our analog hearts, because what they do is that they measure the kind of colors that we like in various posters, the kind of protagonist and their demographic, and the kind of mood of what we're attracted to when it comes to marketing, and then being kind of in that state of salivation or wanting to watch a new show. Because of this, you'll notice that the posters, both for Macbeth and House of Cards, are really similar in terms of the protagonist, the mood, and the colors. This, of course, is no coincidence. It's based on big data. Now, as we discussed this collaborative consumerization trend, of course we talked about new ways of accessing space, driven by the likes of Airbnb, where now 10% of their bookings are being made for business purposes as opposed to just consumer reasons. This, of course, is also challenging the likes of the Grand Hyatt or my clients at the Hilton Group, for example, as they think about how to remain competitive compared to these collaborative consumption platforms. It changes the game for things like cars and how we use resources. For every Zip car or Go-Get car, it takes 9 cars, owned cars, off the roads of Shanghai, Stockholm, New York, San Francisco, Sydney, wherever it happens to be. We also access our internet in new ways via, say, the FON Wi-Fi network, where we sell our spare capacity Wi-Fi broadband, and instead, when we travel around the world, we can access Wi-Fi via FON, the largest Wi-Fi network in the world. Both data resources and physical space are now being collaboratively consumed. And Jason Fried, who showed that one of the places we're the most productive is in our home office. Well, now we also in Sweden have started something called the Hoffice, or the home office, where you simply invite a bunch of friends home to your living room, and instead of just having a co-working space in, say, Hub Singapore or Hub Stockholm, you can now do it with your phone and network just from home. Pretty cool, huh? So this is collaborative consumerization, but consumerization, not just consumption, because increasingly what we're used to accessing, such as software as a service that doesn't sit on your premises in your physical, corporate or commercial real estate environment, but we're accessing it in the cloud off-premise via our iPhones, our tablets, and we're using new services like Box.com or Dropbox. Then we go back to our IT professionals at work or digitally and go, hey, we want to share files and collaborate and interact and innovate together with our co-workers in the office space and away from it in Box or Dropbox or Podio or Trello or Basecamp. Project management and data sharing services that we have become used to sharing in the cloud, driving a need for corporates to also adopt these platforms, ensuring that a small company like Box, or formerly small company like Box.com, can compete with the likes of Oracle, Cisco, Microsoft, etc. By providing a solution that we became used to using as consumers, but increasingly now also being used by corporates all over the world as a result of collaborative consumerization. So the three trends we covered here, very, very relevant, with the Pearl Tower here behind me and the vista of the Bund and the skyline here in Pudong in Shanghai behind me, that we discussed at the Cushman & Wakefield Leadership Conference here, were firstly the idea of transforming interfaces, secondly the idea of on-demand co-workers and not of all of those being human, and thirdly the idea of collaborative consumerization and new ways of working and using resources in a much more productive fashion.